Hello family, my name is Chris, I am your home gamer dad, and throughout all of Power Rangers lore, you can bet that when things got tough, the Rangers were not afraid to pull out all the stops. Power-ups, new weapons, armor, vehicles, weird gadgets, they had it all and they all had it at the ready in order to be able to send those monsters packing. Now, here in Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid, you too can gain that same strength. So get ready in order to power up your teams in various ways as I take you through the new Arsenal mode and the Arsenal cards powerful enough to boost your team. So for this breakdown, I'm not going to be looking at any heroes. I'm just going to be talking about the Arsenal cards that came within the Arsenal pack. This is a brand new pack that was just released. You got 20 Arsenal cards in there, but then you'll also have Tyler from Dino Charge Red. You have Izzy from Dino Fury Green. You have Trini, who is the Black Dragon armor version of her. And then you also have Void Knight, who is a Nemesis enemy. Each one of those characters is very unique. They have their own mechanics to them, new mechanics, things along that ways, but I will cover them in later breakdowns. For now, I'm just going to be focusing on front and center right here, the Arsenal cards. However, before we know what they do, we got to learn how to acquire them, how to attach them, and any other rules that are associated with them. So let us go and do a quick run through of how to use and incorporate Arsenal mode into your game of Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. First thing you're going to do is find all the cards with this background. These are your Arsenal cards. The Arsenal pack comes with 20 of these, though I'm sure there's going to be plenty more that are going to be released in future expansions. Those you can just shuffle right into the pile, because what you do at the beginning of your game is you're going to take all of your Arsenal cards, shuffle them together, and deal 10 out. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this stack right here is the stack of Arsenal cards that you're going to be using for your game. All of the extras that you have here are going to be returned to the box or wherever it is that you store your cards for later games. At the start of each round, including the very first round, before you even do any deployments, you're going to go ahead and you're going to reveal the top 2 cards from the Arsenal deck, placing them face up within view of all of the other players. These 2 cards are what's available for this round only. Any Arsenal cards that are still face up at the end of a round will go to the bottom of the deck, and if all 10 cards have been claimed, then there's no more Arsenal for the rest of the game. So basically that means that if somebody claimed the Thunder Slinger throughout the course of this round, and then this round ended, the SWAT armor would go to the bottom, and then the next 2 Arsenal cards would be revealed for players to determine if they want to add that to their Ranger or if they just want to wait and see what else comes out in later rounds. You will never draw from this pile during a round. Arsenal cards cannot be claimed during a battle. They can only be claimed outside of a battle. In order to claim one, you're going to look at the upper left corner to see what that number is. What this represents is an amount of shields that collectively through all the Rangers must discard from their hand in order to be able to claim the weapon. So therefore we have Tyler right here. He has his 5 cards. And we'll say that Izzy here has these 4 cards. If they wanted to claim the Power of 6 Arsenal card right here, Power Up, they would need to discard 6 shields worth of cards from their hands. So Tyler decides he's going to get rid of 1 final strike for 3. Then Izzy's going to come in and look at her hand. She has another 3 for Mold Breaker. So both of those would get discarded, equals 6. So that would be gone into their discard pile. And then either Izzy or Tyler, or actually any Ranger at all, will be able to claim this and attach it to their Ranger. Every Ranger can only have 1 Arsenal card connected to them at a time. If for some reason somewhere down the line Tyler wanted the Thunder Slinger and he hasn't used the Power of 6, then it would just replace it. All cards that are used or activated or swapped out during a battle go to a discard pile, not to be used for the rest of that battle. The only other number here that you have to worry about is the R ones, which are in the upper left corner over here. This represents how many Rangers are within the game in total. So that means even if only 2 Rangers go in or are in a fight or together on a specific location, this will be how many Rangers are within the game. So if you're playing a solo game, this will generally be 3 because you always have 3 Rangers. If you're playing a 4-player game, then this is 4, 5, or 6-player games, etc. like that. You can also obtain Arsenal cards via using a discount. When a ranger performs a recover action, they can forego an amount of shields in order to reduce the cost of arsenal cards by however many shields they chose not to recover with. Whenever a ranger recovers, they would recover 6 shields normally, meaning that a ranger could recover 4 shields, and then the 2 shields left over could be used to give a discount to either one or even both of these arsenal cards. So for example, Tyler over here decides that he was going to do a recover action, and he has chosen to do 5 shields worth of recover instead of 6. He has 1 shield left over, so he would take a hit token and he could put it on the power of 6, thus reducing this from a 6 down to a 5. Izzy has then also decided she was going to do a recover action, but instead of 6 shields, she is only doing 3. So then she would take 3 hit tokens, and she can assign them however she wishes. She can even put both of them on the Thunderslinger, making it a free arsenal card for anybody. But again, if they already have an arsenal, this would have to override it. When an arsenal card is gained or returned to the bottom of the deck because it wasn't chosen for that round, you would remove all the hit tokens from it. The gained one, as mentioned, just gets attached to whatever ranger of your choice. The one that went on the bottom just may show up again later in the game, depending on how many rounds you go through, but will once again be at full cost once it hits the field for a second time. Once an arsenal card is gained and assigned to a ranger of your choice, the only way that you're going to be able to use that arsenal card is if that ranger participates in a battle. Should the ranger not be in the battle, the arsenal card cannot be used. And again, as I mentioned before, rangers can only have 1 arsenal attached to them at a time. If a new card would be attached to them, you discard the old one for the new one. Arsenal cards currently come in 3 flavors: armor, power up, and team power up. Each has their own ongoing or instant effect and whether they can be used once, multiple times, or as a passive during battle. Armor cards can be used multiple times. When you gain an armor card, you're going to be placing an energy token within the slots to show how many uses of that armor your character still has. Whenever the armor's ability is triggered and you're able to use it, you would then remove one of the energy tokens showing how many uses are left. After you have removed the last energy token, the card is then discarded. So far within the armor class, you're either going to find ones that have 2 slots or 3, but as I mentioned going forward, depending on how popular this is, which I'm sure is going to be amazing, we'll probably either see higher numbers or even a 1 charge depending on the ability of the armor. Power-ups are cards that have instant effects that are single use. Only the assigned ranger can use the effect, and once it's used, the card is discarded. Each of the uses for a power-up will be listed on the card itself, so make sure you read it to know exactly when you're able to trigger the ability in order to gain the most use out of it. And finally, we have team power-ups, which are passive effects that happen within the next battle the assigned ranger takes part in. All rangers within that battle will gain the effect of the card, including the attached ranger. And at the end of the battle, the card is then discarded. So be sure to acquire these at the right time, so this way you can make the most out of their abilities going into a strong fight, because again, as soon as a ranger is attached with a team power-up, the next battle they participate in, the power-up triggers. At the end of that battle, the power-up goes away. And that is how you use, gain, and cycle through your deck of arsenal cards in your game of Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. Now, in all honesty, there's nothing out there saying that these can't be used with G.I. Joe Mission Critical, which is currently the 2nd Guardian System game out there. Please give us a 3rd soon, Renegade. But, you know, I can't see it not working, but I can also see him extremely broken with some of those vehicles that the Joe has, mixing with whatever armor it is that you happen to pull. So just keep that in mind when you're going with this. If you're going to use this with your Joes, try to make it more of a crossover with Power Rangers and Joes together. Don't just use this with Joes. It is made more for the Rangers and the Joes, but I guess some of the abilities kind of work either way. Anyway, let's go over some of these cards. We're going to try to do this a little bit. There's 20 of these that we got to go over. So we're going to be starting with the armors, and these are going to be in lowest to highest value. If they share the same value, which is kind of in any order, doesn't really matter. But first, we're going to start with the Animarium armor from Power Rangers Wild Force. Use when you reveal a card for defense, add 1 shield to that card. This costs 2 in order to acquire, which means you would have to discard up to 2 shields worth of cards in order to get it, or take 2 shields less back when doing a recover option in order to reduce it down to 0, or, you know, in combinations of the two. This has 3 charges on it, and I believe these can only be used one at a time. There wasn't much in terms of triggering effects in consecutive order in the rulebook. So it's like when you reveal a card for defense, add 1 shield for the card, you would then remove 1 of the energy tokens from it. So that card you revealed would be 1 shield higher. I'm pretty sure that you can't remove all 3 right there and make that card 3 shield higher. If you could, I mean, it'd be an interesting way to use the card. You'd be guaranteed to take whatever card you flipped over and threw it back. You don't have to worry about anything else. But, you know, even still, if you flipped it and you got rid of it and you need to flip another one, you can at least just keep adding shields to it, because every time you flip a card, it'd be able to gain an additional shield. Next is the Quantum Mega Battle Armor. Costs of 2, used after you roll dice for an attack. You may convert 1 miss result to a hit, or 1 hit result to a double hit. This is, again, Eric. This is Eric from Time Force. This is his main shtick, is kind of rotating these dice around and affecting his quantum dice and other dice along that ways and switching things around like that. It's really cool that you now can be able to do that for any ranger at all that you snap this to. It does have 2 charges, and it says after you roll a dice for an attack, you may convert 1 blob or 1. Okay, so this one is specifically telling you 1 or 1, meaning that you can only use this once per your roll. So if you roll and you have 1 hit and 1 miss, you can either make that 1 hit a double or that 1 miss a single for 1 charge on this. But then you can do that twice. So just having this in the reserve, ready to go, should you need to like really get that little bit extra damage in on something, that is awesome. Next, we have the Defender Vest from Power Rangers Operation Overdrive. 3 costs for this one. After you resolve a card, the next time any ranger suffers damage in this battle, reduce that damage by the amount of energy spent to play that card, with 2 charges on it. So basically what this is saying is, if you play a card, however much energy you pumped into it, you can then activate the Defender Vest by removing 1 of the tokens. The next time a ranger takes damage, it's reduced by however much energy you use to play the card that was used to trigger this. So like if you played a 3 energy power weapon, you played the power weapon, you did it, whatever, you triggered the Defender Vest. So now that means the next source of damage that goes towards any ranger will be reduced by 3, because that's how much energy you pumped into the 3 energy power weapon that you just used, or how much you use for that, I should say. Pumping into it, you could use a Blade Blaster, for example. If you had a 5 energy Blade Blaster and then triggered the Defender Vest, the next source of damage would be reduced by 5. So you can see how this can be really powerful, and it's probably why it only has 2 charges to it. Remember, just like the power-ups and team power-ups and whatnot, the armor can only be used by rangers within the battle that they are attending. So that Defender Vest could only be used by somebody that has the Defender Vest on, per se. Same thing for the Red Battleizer armor here. 3 costs in order to acquire this and attach 3 charges on it. Before you roll a dice for an attack, add 1 die to that attack. So this is specifically the ranger that this is attached to. Before you, as in your ranger that this is attached to, rolls an attack, you can remove an energy from this in order to add 1 die to that attack. And again, I don't think that you can remove all 3 of them at once and gain 3 dice in 1 attack. I'd rather spread it around personally, but there are times when you want to add as many dice in an attack as possible, and that's not a bad thing either. I just clarify just down in the comments below, just to be sure that once we start playing with these and these start getting into bigger rotation, people have them in order to be able to know exactly how you use them. I am pretty sure it is 1 use per charge, so you use it and that's it. You can't use it for the rest of that ranger turn, but I could be wrong, and that'd be fine if I am. Guys, let me know. The greatest thing about this armor set is seeing armors and just moments within Power Ranger history that either you forget or you don't realize or just kind of pop up out of nowhere. So amazing. Like this, the Hyperforce Battleizer. That's Chloe, the pink Hyperforce Ranger. If I can remember correctly from the show, which is a Hyper RPG show, you know, a tabletop everything, she is the only one that got a Battleizer. It worked out with dice rolling and everything, but she was the only one that got a Battleizer. And there it is, pink Battleizer, amazing. Cost 3 to acquire, 2 charges on this. Use at the start of battle. The Rangers may ignore the fast keyword to take the first turn in battle. It's exactly what her ability is. Like, she has that power within her cards and deck and things along that way. She's speedy, she's quick. And it's great to have this battleizer on you in order to be able to not lose that first turn when going up against bosses or monsters or anything like that. It's so cool. I love it. I love the image. The ability fits it perfectly. It's so cool. All right, Beast Morphers we got right here. Red Fury mode. Cost 4 2 charges on this one. Use before you roll dice for an attack. Add 2 dice to that attack. After that attack resolves, another ranger may suffer damage equal to the number of misses results rolled. So risk versus reward right here. He is powering up. He's getting all supercharged and whatever, ready to attack whoever this is attached to. It doesn't have to be Beast Morpher Red. It could be anybody. Any one of your rangers could have the Red Fury mode attached to them and trigger it. So that means you'll be rolling 2 dice in addition to whatever else you're rolling. And then every miss you get, another ranger within that battle must suffer the damage. Now, here's an interesting point. If you are the only ranger within a battle, does that mean that all that just kind of goes out into nothing? That would be something. Like, Tommy is very known for like kind of just soloing things or whatever. Eric from Time Force can solo stuff as well. If you use Red Fury mode, it says another ranger must suffer the damage. Does that mean you could not use the Red Fury mode because you couldn't do all of the wording? Or does that mean that any of those extra like misses that you have, that damage just floats away into nothing, just disperses with the flame? I don't know. Something to think about. And again, things that we should be curious about and asking on things like the Discord board or anything along that ways. This way we all know how to play these correctly and use them to their fullest. All right, the headlining armor that you saw on both the front of the box of the armor set and on the back here and whatnot, the Dino Charge Battleizer. 4 costs, 3 charges on it. When you perform an attack, another ranger may reveal an attack card with an energy cost of 1 or 0 from their hand. If they do, your attack gains the effect text on that card. So pretty much whenever you look at a card in your hand and you see the cost in the upper left, 1 or 0, read the card. You don't get whether it says attack. I think this just has to be, nope, just has to be a card, an attack card. So it has to be an attack card. It has to say attack, it has to be colon, it has to be something after that. That doesn't matter. Whatever the actual attack of the card that you reveal is does not matter. It's what's written below it that matters. So if you have a card that when you play it ignores guard, or when you play it does splash damage, or when you play it draws a card, whatever it is that you, who's wearing this Dino Charge Battleizer, uses, when you trigger it, someone else shows a card and you gain the effect of whatever card is that they showed, which is a really cool way of kind of like mixing and matching powers together, doing a very strong attack with its own abilities mixed in with somebody else, which is pretty much what the Dino Charge Battleizer is. And then you just call upon the powers of every single dinosaur Zord that they have, and he constantly swaps in and out and changes and gains abilities. So it makes sense. It works. It's 3 charges, which is really crazy the amount of uses on that. And then just, you know, goes from there. It's crazy. Out of the 20 arsenal cards that you get with the pack, 9 of them are armors. So you could be able to do a lot of crazy things throughout the course of your game. Next, we have the Dino Knight mode, which I wish Dino Fury was called Dino Knight. Like, I've read about it. I understand why it's not Dino Knight, it's Dino Fury, but it just would have made more sense in my brain why it should be Dino Knight. But whatever. This costs 5, pretty expensive. Use you when you reveal a card for defense. Gain energy for each shield or chroma sphere, chroma something icon, chroma fury icon on the cards. This is going to kind of play into the whole Dino Fury thing because the Dino Fury Rangers have that little squiggly symbol on them, or at least Izzy does, and I can only imagine that the next round of figures that we're going to find out about in the June RenCon will actually talk about Dino Fury. I would bet money on it that we're going to see Dino Fury really soon. And they will have that Chroma Fury symbol on it, and that'll actually play into the Dino Knight mode itself because it's from their season. But it doesn't matter because if you can put this on any ranger and they reveal a card for defense and it's 3 shield, spend an energy here, boom, you now have 3 energy in the pool that you can use. And it doesn't matter, it's just reveal a card for defense. That card could go on the bottom, that could go to the discard pile. It doesn't matter, you just gain 3 energy from the Dino Knight mode. Last bit of armor here, and it has like one of the coolest images I've seen so far. All this is like new Tommy, I think this is, or like a newer version of Tommy or something along that way. It's all comic book based. The Dragon Shield, used to resolve one of the following effects. After you resolve an attack, perform an additional attack with 3 dice, or When you suffer damage, reduce the damage by 2, then deal 2 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Oh my goodness, so good. No wonder it costs 5 and it's only 2 charges, because that is amazing. Doing a follow-up 3 dice attack is usually more than enough to either like destroy monster card or get rid of like foot soldiers or anything along that ways. But even the defense ability of this to reduce the damage by 2, but then 2 damage to an enemy card of your choice, which bypasses guard, by the way. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. Like, it's just crazy that you only see these once. I haven't used any as of this recording in my games yet, but I could just, you read this and you think about the combos that you can pull off, and you think about the characters that these fit well with and everything like that, and it's just, you're going to be able to create some crazy combos, some crazy abilities, and really feel like Power Rangers gaining all that gear and taking it to whatever monster is causing the havoc within your locations. All right, moving on to the power-ups. We have the Thunder Slinger. This was actually, I remembered this when I was doing my Putty Patrol breakdown, because this was the weapon that Jason and Tommy found at the Titanus Temple or whatever it is in order to take down the Super Putties. Again, all comes back to Titanus because Titanus is the best. 2 shields in order to purchase this, cost of 2, I should say. Use when any ranger plays an attack card, add 1 die to that attack for each energy spent to play that card. Which is insane, because if, like, I'm just thinking Power Axe. Power Axe is the first thing that came to my mind when it came to Thunder Slinger when I read this, because the Power Axe is normally a 3 dice attack. You would then take 2 of those dice and deal that much damage to adjacent targets. You've now, by using the Thunder Slinger, because this is a one-time use for your character, use the Thunder Slinger, make that a 6 dice attack, and then you have a greater chance of rolling like double 2s or whatever in order to take out stuff. You could just go crazy with the amount of damage splashed around. I mean, you could even do this for Blade Blasters, Power Pod Swords, all kinds of stuff that do like splash damage or assign your damage how you wish and things along that ways. Absolutely amazing. The more energy you pump into it, the more dice you get on the other end. So cool. There's no 3-cost power-ups. We're going right to 4. Black Box, 4 costs from Power Rangers Samurai, or Super Samurai, I think this is really what this is from. Use when you play an attack card, double the amount of damage dealt by that card. Again, this is from Lauren Shiba. She has the exact same card within her deck, Black Box, where she would play it, and then the next attack that she does, the effect is doubled. Now, effectively, you can give any ranger in the game the same ability. Again, you buy it, you snap it onto a card, and then you pretty much choose when you want to use a power-up. This is when you play an attack card, so you would have to trigger this before you roll. You can't roll and be like, oh my god, this is the greatest roll ever, I better double it. You'd have to do this before you roll. Remember that? It's always about the order of these things. But man, if you know that you're rolling 8 dice that has the ability to spread that damage, and you have this card on you, why not trigger it? Because that could just be, you could wipe the board all by yourself. When in that case, if I ever did that, oh man, would that go down in the record book. Next, we have the Sword of Darkness, Evil Tommy's evil weapon with the evil darkness in it. 4 costs for this one. Used during any ranger turn in battle. Instead of playing a card, spend 3 energy to deal 6 damage to an enemy card of your choice. You can't like enhance this or anything along that way. You're spending 3 energy to do 6 straight damage, which is ridiculous in its own right, but that is enough to easily take down almost every monster card I've ever covered, including some boss cards as well. And because it's an enemy card of your choice, you are not targeting anything specifically, so you can nail some card that's being guarded by other cards, get it out of there if it's a bad passive or just a card that's going to be giving you a lot of trouble or whatever. Yes, this costs 3 energy to do, and it is a one-time shot, but that one-time shot could definitely make the difference between surviving an entire round, knocking out a boss, knocking out a monster, winning and losing in general. And I said vehicles in the opening, I wasn't kidding. We got ourselves the Zeo Jet Cycles right here. Cost of 5, used before the start of a battle, move up to 2 ranger figures from the center to the location of this battle. Now, this is a little bit more of a setup thing. You need to have the rangers in the like center hub of your board before you can use the Zeo Jet Cycles, which ultimately, if you're playing with the command center, that's great because you can use an action to move to the center, power up, which means you gain back your energy, you gain back all your cards, you are all ready to go. You could do that, another character could do that. activate the Zeo jet cycles and then bring them into battle immediately without them having to spend another action. So it's kind of a setup. It's kind of, you need to have the right situations and whatnot in order to be able to do it. If a character happens to bite the dust and they go back to the center that way in a 3, 4, 5, or 6 player game, then the Zeo jet cycles would work as well to pull them back. So this was a little bit situational, I got to admit, but I can definitely see the use for it and how it can save a lot of time and actions from other players. The last power-up, the Power of 6 from Super Mega Force. A season that should not have been that season. It should have been something completely different, but that is a discussion in its own right. A cost of 6, makes sense, used to resolve one of the following effects. When any ranger gains energy, they gain 6 energy instead. Wow. When any ranger rolls dice for an attack, they roll 6 dice instead. So again, you could, if you're doing a 1 dice attack, do this and you're rolling a 6 dice attack. Here's 5 dice for no reason. When a ranger suffers damage, reduce that damage by 6. Support, offense, and defense, all within the Power of 6. Like, I watch the Super Sentai series that Super Mega Force was based on, and that series is absolutely amazing. You know, the way they use their powers, the keys and things along that ways. Super Mega Force just is awful. But out of that entire season, Orion, which is the Silver Ranger that wore this weird getup here, is the best part of that season, and he is just phenomenally powerful, especially when he has this attached to him. So I hope we see Orion soon. I really do, because I think he would be awesome to add to the game, especially because we have his golden armor right here that just does a massive amount of attack, gaining energy, or defense. Your choice, one-time use, but however you're going to use it, it's going to be crazy. And now we're into the team power-ups. And before I start talking about the metallic armor here and their shiny, shiny suits, just to let you know, all of them have an R in the upper left corner, which is a total amount of rangers within the battle. I discussed this already when I talked about it, but just to reiterate, if you were playing a 4-player game, each one of you have a ranger, so this R would then be a value of 4. If you're playing a solo game, you will only have 3 rangers within that. This value would be a value of 3, and so on and so forth. You really 3, 4, 5, or 6 is going to be what this value is for the R, because even if you're playing 2 players, each person's controlling 2 rangers. Thus, there are 4 rangers within the game. So keep that in mind. That is what R is. That's generally what your span is going to be, between 3 and 6, depending on how many people you play. Metallic armor. We need a new idea. Make them shiny. Perfect. During this battle, the first time each ranger reveals a card for defense, they may treat it as though they have a shield value of 4. This is fantastic to have. Now remember, team power-ups go into effect the next battle that the ranger that it's attached to is a part of. So you can kind of work your way around it to make sure that they're in a very strong battle. So this way their team power-up triggers. You can also have every ranger with a team power-up and get all these different abilities and passives through it. This is great because if you stack your deck in a way where you know that the next card is a 1 shield, you can reveal it, and because of metallic armor, haha, it's a 4 shield. Boom, it then goes on the bottom instead of going away, or at least usually. Generally, you're only going to be taking 2 or 3 damage at a time. Even if you're taking 4 damage, you're only losing that 1, which is great. The starved defense powers will still trigger as well with this. Next, we go to the Lost Galaxy with the Galaxy Rangers Lights of Orion. Until the end of this battle, each time a ranger plays a card, they may draw 1 card to reduce its energy cost by 1. That's actually really cool. So that means if you're playing a 3 energy card, you could draw a card from your deck, and now it's a 2 energy card that you're playing. That's really interesting how it's like distributing the energy that you're doing. Like you're pulling from your deck, your deck's getting a little lighter, but now you're able to play this card a little easier if you're just a little bit short on energy. Each time a ranger plays a card. So this could work for every single card you play. Watch out that you don't deck yourself out, of course. I don't think, like Corone right now as the pink Galaxy Ranger, or at least the second pink Galaxy Ranger, has Lights of Orion in her deck. I don't think this is what it does. It does something else, but it's cool to see this in the game, and maybe we'll see some Lost Galaxy Rangers later. I would like that. I would like all the seasons personally, but hey, Lost Galaxy, that was a good one. Here's a team we've seen before. Super Dino Mode from Power Rangers Dino Thunder. During this battle, the first time each ranger performs an attack, add 1 die to that attack. That's amazing. first time each ranger performs an attack. So each ranger, I guess this would only happen once per ranger in the battle. So if I am playing a solo game, I would have 3 rangers in the battle. The first time each one of those rangers attacks, they would gain 1 dice to whatever that first attack is. It's just something you got to kind of pay attention to as well, because certain things like this, it's a wording. It's not like every time you attack, you gain a dice, which I can see some people like reading this weird or like just following it up that way. It's each ranger, the first attack is boosted by 1 dice. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes you need that, especially when you're going up against a monster or a boss that has a fast that hit you hard for something. You want to make sure to go down the line and knock other things out faster so you're not taking any more hits. Having that 1 dice to do an additional attack is great. And if you can combo all of your rangers together to do an attack that round, sure, you're doing it all in one shot, but man, the damage output could be huge. When I heard SPD coming to the game a few months ago, I was wondering if SWAT would ever make its way. Like, would it be a separate addition of the team, new figures, things along that ways? I'm more than fine having SWAT armor right here, special weapons and tactics for those of you out there that are curious. Again, Power Rangers SPD. During this battle, the first time each ranger spends energy to play a card or use a character ability, that is be the stuff from their cards, by the way, they may first deal 1 damage to an enemy card of their choice. First time each ranger spends energy to play a card. Okay, so again, during this battle, the first time anyone does. So this is really, you're really only at max doing 3 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Like each one of those is an enemy card of your choice. But I can definitely understand how this is used and how this is going to be really helpful, because one of my favorite abilities in this game is deal 1 enemy damage to an enemy card of your choice, which again, bypasses guard. Fantastic thing to bypass guard. So really, as long as you spend energy, you can deal the damage once per ranger for this battle. Not bad, not bad at all. Diving a little deeper into the comics era, Sword of Light. Until the end of this battle, each other ranger is considered to have your character ability in addition to their own. So this is whoever this is attached to, whatever your ability, which is your on-card ability, once per battle, once per turn, things along that way ability. If all the other rangers on the field, you attach this to yours, all the other rangers would have it as well. First thing I thought of, the very first thing I thought of as a solo player is snapping this on to Dragon Armor, not Dragon Armor, Dragon Armor, right? Whatever, Loner Tommy, Green Ranger, Loner Tommy. Until the end of each ranger, you're considered to have your ability. So Loner Tommy is you gain 1 dice for all your attacks if you're the only player in that area. You snap this on him as a solo mode. Now your other 2 rangers that you have going with Tommy will also have an additional dice added on to every one of their attacks. This is probably the best one to use for solo in that situation, but there are plenty other rangers out there that I would have no problem spreading their abilities over to other rangers as well. It also means that if you have a very powerful once per battle ability, the Sword of Light will enable you to trigger it more than once for the duration of that battle. And finally, we have Power of the Solarix. I just covered Solar Ranger not too long ago. There's all of our solar friends. Let's get them in the game too soon, shall we? Until the end of this battle, each time a ranger uses a once per battle ability, again, that's what's on your card, and it'll have to say once per battle in this case. It's not just something that's on their card. They may then return 1 card from their discard pile to their hand. Ooh, that's fun. Each time a ranger uses a once per battle ability. So ideally, the way that this would work is, once you use that once per battle ability, that's it. You know, you're not going to be able to trigger the Solarix power again. However, we have seen that other rangers, the Purple Solar Ranger, for example, or Purple again, the Plesio Ranger, Kendall from Dino Charge, have the ability to recharge those once per battle abilities. So it just says each time that's used, you can do this. So you could actually take advantage of this a few times. It'd have to be kind of set up in a way. You'd have to purposely want to do it. But either way, having the ability to pull anything from your discard pile back to your hand is amazing, because now you don't have to worry about recharging that back into your deck. And if you have something really, really strong in there that you know is going to be good for the battle, Power of the Solarix enables you to get that back and win the day. And there you have it, our first 20 Arsenal cards for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. Now, I, again, am fully expecting that going forward, the next sets that are going to be released will probably have, I would venture to guess, 2 or 3 Arsenal cards per pack within it. So like if they wanted to like re-release, or not re-release, but like released Jungle Fury or something like that, maybe they'll have like Jungle Master Mode in it or something along that ways, as power-ups or team power-ups or weapons and things along that ways. Something related to the box that it's in, but I could definitely see going forward in each one of the packs that they release that have Rangers in it. Not only do you get the Rangers, but they're 10 packs of cards, the Zord that goes with them, some type of related Megazord, and now an Arsenal card. So all types of weapons and goodies are coming in the future. I guarantee it. I can't wait to see more and more and more, and how this stack of 20 grows and grows and grows. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think of the Arsenal cards? Were there any within this stack that you particularly were interested in that you think you would love to be able to use in your game? Again, ideally what it's supposed to be is you shuffle them together and you draw 10 out randomly, but there's nothing saying that you can't take 10 cards from the stack that you like, make your own deck, but I would definitely shuffle that and leave that face down so you're not getting things in a particular order. What ideas do you have for future armor cards as well, or power-ups or team power-ups that you think would come within the Arsenal set? If you're thinking about adding this to your collection, there is a link down in the description section below. Using that affiliate link in order to make that purchase will go a long way to helping the Home Gamer Dad grow, and I would very much appreciate it from anybody out there that's interested in this set at all, or any of the other sets that happen to be coming out for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid, whether it be something in the future, something has already been released or whatever, or just something that you want to add to your game just to bring it to the next level, which is what I truly believe the Arsenal set does. It adds another layer to the game that really was needed to make your team feel whole together, and just those extra bits of power, those extra little bits of mechanics that jump in order to make your team that much better. And you can be sure that I will be using these in future sessions of Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. So that means in order not to miss those, any other Power Ranger stuff that I put out, or other fun videos I put out for you to enjoy, be sure you are subscribed to the Home Gamer Dad. If you wish to support the channel even further, again, there are ways to do that down in the description section. YouTube memberships and Patreons are very, very much appreciated. Using the affiliate links are amazing as well. All that goes a long way in order to make sure that I can continue to make these videos for you guys. Otherwise, your view, your likes, your shares, your comments, all of that also go a huge way of helping. And I thank each and every one of you for that. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves and each other. We are family forever, gaming together. Choose your armor, choose your power up, and let's go ahead and fight to save the world. Until next time, you guys have a good one, and I will see you later.